Part 2. Engaging healthy mind practicing. Let's get that together. Part 2, because I keep getting kicked off. So let me hit the broadcast up. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back again doing some live streaming, but already have a horrible signal, so about ready to get kicked off again. Oh, what abs, right? What abs? I had like 2 hours of trying to get into the unemployment agency thing yesterday to just upload a document. 2 hours. Oh, that's just so normal. It's so normal to use technology and never have a problem solved. Just like at PNC Bank, close that account out, everything's closed out, still receiving bills from them. Have affidavits, whatever, talked serial numbers, whatever, doesn't matter. Same thing at Huntington Bank. And now I've got a poor, bad report from Huntington Bank because their tellers and their bank simply do not care one bit about their customers. They don't care about paying their employees. I'm talking about Huntington Bank and PNC and Fifth Third. They don't care about paying their employees because all those bankers are just taking your money over and over again. Why would they care about paying anybody to do a job at a bank anymore? All that is just a bunch of nonsense that they're paying for. Why do they need to pay for that? That just causes them more problems. Might as well get the criminals all the way at the lower levels, at the banks, right? Because they have done such a stellar job with our money. Why do I get so depressed? That's our next article in the section, Why Do I Feel This Way? From Questions Young People Ask, Answers That Work. Melody had always lived up to her mother's ideal of the perfect child until she turned 17. Then she withdrew from school activities, stopped accepting invitations to parties, and didn't even seem to care when her grades dropped from A's to C's. When her parents gently inquired what was wrong, she stormed away saying, "Leave me alone, there's nothing wrong." Mark, at 14, was impulsive and hostile, with an explosive temper. At school, he was fidgety and disruptive. When frustrated or angry, he would race across the desert on a motorcycle or shoot down steep hills on his skateboard. Melanie and Mark both suffer forms of the same malady, depression. M-A-L, malady, M-A-L-A-D-Y. M-A-L at the beginning of any word means bad. M-A-L means bad, all right? Or you could make the assumption, I don't know if every single word, but you can make the assumption and go with it. So malady, depression. Dr. Donald McNew of the National Institute of Mental Health says that 10 to 15% of school children may suffer mood disorders. A smaller number suffer from severe depression. If you are a child suffering from depression, this is really a parent's flag. You know, you've got so many vaccines going into the body that you have no idea what the ramifications of those vaccines are. And I say you start with your natural developing child and you work to only resolve problems in that naturally developing child. We have perverted medicine so far from having any trust in the human body, and yet statistics are showing that we're living less. We are experiencing more viruses, which again is not a natural occurrence in the environment. It has no nucleus. No creator made that shit. At times, there is a biological basis for the problem. Some infections or endocrine system diseases, the hormonal shifts of the menstrual cycle, hypoglycemia, certain medications, exposure to toxic metals or chemicals, allergic reactions, which are caused by medications, exposure to toxic metals and chemicals, and unbalanced diet, which is filled with metals, chemicals, and toxic and poisons. We'll call it that. How about that? Anemia. All of these can trigger depression. So Jordan Peterson, when you were asking the question, what is environment? What's the environment? That's everything. Yeah, it is. It's everything. We better take a closer look at who keeps manipulating the environment. We know it's just that the manipulators don't care and they just keep running things as is. Why do I have 9,000 dropped frames and then an excellent connection that it says? I don't even know. But we're still rolling on our recording, so we're good. Failing to measure up to the expectations of parents, teachers, or friends is another cause of melancholy. Melancholy. That's kind of that sad, bluesy feeling that you have. Donald, for example, felt that he had to excel in school to please his well-educated parents. Failing to do that, he became depressed and suicidal. I've never done anything right. I've always let everybody down, lamented Donald. That a sense of failure can kindle depression is evident from the case of a man named Epaphroditus. During the first century, this faithful Christian was sent on a special mission to assist the imprisoned apostle Paul. But when he reached Paul, he soon fell sick, and Paul instead had to care for him. You can imagine then why Epaphroditus might have felt like such a failure and became depressed. Apparently, he overlooked all the good he had performed before he got sick. A sense of loss. Francine Clagsbrunn wrote in her book, Too Young to Die, Youth and Suicide, at the root of many emotional-caused depressions lies a profound sense of loss of someone or something that has been deeply loved. That is true. And that profound sense of loss can be the loss of love, or when a parent neglects a child, right? The loss of the attention that you need in order to develop fully, right? And healthy. That is true. Right on, Francine. Thus, the loss of a parent through death or divorce, the loss of a job or career, or even the loss of one's physical health could also be at the root of depression. Now, I have lost my job and I don't have anyone beating down my door to help me in my career. Why hasn't that left me depressed? Why am I not depressed about it? There is a thing about how much I have to do with this, right? And also faith, in a belief that really, good will prevail, right? So, yeah, so those, just like the dream that we talked about in Wounded Knee, good will prevail. And, no different from trying to annihilate. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying the reasoning that we see for annihilation, for massacres, is always the same thing. This great, giant fear that one group is going to get annihilated by the other group, right? So you could say that with Israel and Palestine, the fear that one group is going to get annihilated by the other group. And then here, the colonists, right? They believed that they were going to be overrun by any minority. And still the fear with white supremacists is the same fear, that they will be overrun by minorities. But you really have to put on the PS there, because they were doing a dance. Right? But they believed that dance had powers beyond what was actually going on. So they wanted to squash that dance and what was going on. This spiritual revival that dance might cause, right? So that's what's going on here constantly, is that a squashing of any kind of spiritual revival. I'm waiting on a phone call from unemployment, right? So they give you a whopping 20 weeks, just allowing the university to take away your career. And I suppose, hold on, that was my phone, and that's important because I don't know if it's it can't be, it's early, and that actually isn't the phone ringing. So it's a text. But it could be about that phone call. So 20 weeks, and that contributes to things like, you have people and you allow this kind of criminal behavior at your bank level, right? Your financial institutions, at your career level, for me at the university level. So that's at the educational level. You just astronomical level, political levels, astronomical levels of corruption. Well, then you have good people who are disappearing. You have good people who are losing their faith, which is exactly what this movement is all about. How many people can we get to lose their faith? Because they have seen at the university level that this spiritual motivation is unstoppable. So doing no matter what, murdering your family, every injustice possible, they have to do a direct attack on our spiritual beliefs, our beliefs in higher powers, a direct attack on it. So as I've said, let's see your methodology, because scientific method is pretty easy to follow. Everyone knows the scientific method. We all learned it. So let us see your data, and then we're able to see whether or not you actually are following anything close to the scientific method. Pfizer, motherfuckers. And that also helps me not trigger my depression when I can just get out right here and call you pharmaceutical companies, Moderna, whatever you're called now that you keep changing your GD name, just smoke and mirrors with you guys, because you're all criminals. You're all criminals. And it's not even, you're like white collar. No, you're just criminals. You're just criminals lurking around here and involving yourself in the same behaviors. I have a hair there somewhere. And the same behaviors that criminals involve themselves in, lurking around, perversion, getting your rocks off whenever you feel like it, on whatever you feel like it, stealing data, sitting over there building a shoddy house, making the environment looking like shit, spewing lies. That's what it looks like. Pressures at the root of depression. However, the teen years themselves are often the source of emotional stress. Not having an adult's experience in handling life's ups and downs A youth can feel that no one cares and could become painfully depressed over relatively commonplace matters. Failing to measure up to the expectations of parents, teachers, or friends is another cause of melancholy. Oh, we read this all. What the heck? That sense of failure can kindle depression is evident from the case of a man. Oh, we already read that. Youth suicide. We already read that. Most devastating loss to a young person, though, is a loss of love, the feeling of being unwanted and uncared for. When my mother left us, I felt betrayed and alone, revealed a young woman named Marie. My world suddenly seemed upside down. And I loved my mom a lot, but I realized that I don't think my mom loved me at all. And you know why she didn't love me? I think. I don't know for sure, but about this, but it's because of my strength and my faith and my power. It made her afraid, just like it made these people afraid. Exactly the same way. How can a mother not love their child? Because they fear their child. I knew certain things, right? I forgot them, like the East is from the West, but that wasn't good enough. And that's the all-consuming guilt that people can end up getting wrapped up in. So keep your justices at the, clear cut, right? Keep justice clear cut for you, right and wrong, clear cut for you. And that keeps you out of depression. It does. And that's it. And that's it. Because every piece of your life could be falling down around you. But if you have been a righteous person, that could happen and you'll be just fine. Okay, I do have to go because I don't want to miss a phone call. I have 20 weeks of this money and I don't want to screw it up. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. Thanks for joining me here in the classroom. This has been Engaging Your Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit with the teacher from Healthy Mind, Body, Spirit. Thanks.